Have you ever woken up from a dream so wild and vivid that it made you question reality? Well, I had one of those, except mine wasn't a dream. It actually happened, believe it or not. Hi, I'm Avery, a young billionaire pilot, and this is my story of how I ended up in the creepiest and most mysterious place in the world. Let's take it from the top. It all started when my best friend, Mila, and I were getting ready for some party on one of my private islands. And while I was picking which jet to fly, she was busy ranting about how I just rejected my 8th millionaire suitor on that same day. I swear, you reject men like it's your natural reflex. A-listers, heirs, young CEOs, that prince from somewhere I can't pronounce. Girl, what exactly are you looking for? I slid my hand along the wing of jet number 3 like it was a Greek god. I don't know. Maybe I'm just looking for something more. Someone who can make my heart feel like it's about to jump off a cliff. Maybe. That sounds like an arrhythmia. Exactly. The world's too big to settle just because someone has a yacht named after me. Maybe you just haven't met the right one yet. Who knows? It could be hiding in the most unexpected place. Oh, I like the sound of that. Just then, my head bodyguard stormed in with the other walking muscle towers. Miss Avery, your father strictly said, no flights without a pilot or protection team. I've been flying since I was 4. Not to brag or anything, but I've probably spent more hours in the sky than in math class. With supervision, Miss Avery. Oh please, just this once. Ma'am, this is serious. You can't be late for the party. Sorry, boys. Mila scrambled in after me, gripping her matcha tea like it was holy water. Are we actually doing this? Yep. I'm cutting trackers and signals, so don't scream. Why do I hang out with you again? Because you love me. And I got you that gold-plated PS5. Mila was only interested in 3 things: parties, video games, and me. Fair enough. We were up in the clouds in under a minute. You ever wonder what the edge of the world looks like? No. Normal people wonder about movie endings, skincare routines, and what their cats are thinking. Well, you wonder about edges, and wormholes, and flying into unmapped airspace. Be careful what you wish for, Aviator Barbie. But that's the thing. I liked the unknown. I liked chasing the things that most people were too scared to look at. Maybe it was the curious cat in me. The sun was already setting as we neared the island. I practically felt the music blasting from the party below, and honestly, I'd rather keep flying than partying with a bunch of basic guys. How about we go somewhere else? Where? The edge of the freaking world? Exactly. You're joking, right? Tell me you're joking. Just a few more loops, okay? Girl, I swear on my last will, you're going to regret this one day. Oh, come on. My parents won't be back for 3 days. I have to make the most of it. Do you know how long I've been waiting for this chance? Fine. But we better not miss the party, or else. Don't worry, girl, I got you. I whipped a U-turn midair and just let loose. I was flying not just with wings, but with freedom. No rules, no schedules, no rich parents breathing down my neck. It was just me, the sky, and my best girl screaming her lungs out beside me. Just then, I spotted a massive flock of birds charging straight at us like feathered missiles. And they did not look friendly at all. Uh-oh. Avery, hold on. I tried steering away, but it was too late. When I opened my eyes, I wasn't in my jet anymore. I was lying on the grass in the middle of nowhere. I sat up and looked around, with my heart pounding in my ears. No Mila. No jet. Just weird-looking trees, starlit ruins, and some moon statues everywhere. Where am I? If something happened to Mila, I swear to God, I couldn't forgive myself. I reached for my phone, and my stomach instantly dropped when I realized that it wasn't in my pocket. It was probably still inside the jet, if it still existed. I scrambled up and immediately heard the saddest squish under my designer boots. Please don't be poop. Please don't be poop. Yep. Probably poop. Great. Love that for me. Had no time to emotionally process that right now. I needed to find Mila, or my jet, or a working cell tower, or anyone I could beg for help. I mean, I didn't survive boarding school and etiquette class just to die lost in an unfamiliar place. I took a shaky step forward and glanced up, then froze at the sight of the massive moon. It was hanging so low, I felt like I could high-five it. Its bluish-purple light drenched the place, making everything feel strangely off. I tensed up the moment I heard rustling nearby. I spun around and gasped when I saw a deer. And it wasn't just any deer. It was tall, glowing, and elegant. And it was staring right at my soul. It then turned and pranced away into the mist. And of course, being the curious little disaster that I was, I followed it. As I walked, I noticed even more moon statues around, and giant deer sculptures peeking out from behind glowing bushes like they were quietly watching me. What even is this place? For a moment, I actually hoped that I was at the edge of the world. I was terrified and weirdly curious at the same time. Eventually, the deer stopped at some ruins on a low cliff, where old stone shrines and ancient relics that my dad would probably be interested in were scattered around. My heart jumped in relief when I spotted someone. A woman. But something was off with her. She was kneeling in front of one of the shrines, arms lifted toward the glowing moon, like she was in the middle of some ritual or something. I was about to call out to her when she suddenly rose. Her long, ethereal purple hair spilling over her shoulders and shimmering under the moonlight. Wait, were those elf ears? And what was up with the antlers on her head? It was probably just a fancy headband, right? Or some kind of fashion here. Before I could even say hi, the deer walked up to her, and she smiled and leaned her forehead against its nose like they'd been besties since birth. Weird, but sweet. Like nature therapy. And I almost didn't want to interrupt. As the deer backed away and trotted down the slope, the woman suddenly spoke. The forest whispers when someone new arrives. She then turned to face me and started glowing. And did she seriously just turn into another deer right in front of me? So, shapeshifters were indeed real. Okay, either I was dreaming, or I hit my head really, really hard. The creature, just started galloping down the slope and across the terrain like it was totally normal behavior. Hey, wait. I tried to follow it, but I suddenly froze when I heard a lullaby echoing through the trees. I followed the sound, and just a few feet from where I left the cliff, I stumbled into a flower field. And in the middle of it was another woman. And she was twirling under the moon like she was filming a perfume commercial or something. God, I hope this one's normal this time. I hid behind a tree to take a closer look at her, and wow, she looked hauntingly beautiful. No antlers this time. Just a lacy eye mask and a stunning dress that was giving Dior or Valentino vibes. Not going to lie, she was mesmerizing, and I just couldn't look away. Just then, she tilted her head toward me and smiled, like she knew I was there all along, even with her eyes closed all this time. Hi. Sorry, I didn't mean to crash your, midnight flower ritual thing. Super pretty, by the way. But, yeah. So I just literally fell out of the sky, and I'm lost and possibly hallucinating. I was just wondering if you have a phone, or you could at least tell me where I am. Because I would really love to. You heard it, didn't you? Heard what, exactly? The moon's lullaby. Wait, that wasn't you singing? I used to be the only one who could hear it. She paused, and in a split second, she was already right in front of me. Until you showed up. My soul instantly left my body. Like, how did she even? There was no walking involved. The moment I blinked again, she was gone. Before I could even process what the heck just happened, creepy, shadowy, reddish figures suddenly stepped out from the dark and lunged at me, screaming. I started running for dear life. At this point, I was sure I had to be dreaming, because if I wasn't, then what in the world were those things? When I finally lost them, I crashed into a mossy statue and ducked behind it. Through the fog, I saw moon statues, more relics, and gravestones. Blood drained from my face when I realized that I was in a freaking graveyard. Just when I thought this place couldn't get any creepier. Moments later, I saw something bluish-purple flicker ahead. As it got closer, I realized that it was a guy walking through the dark mist with a lantern. He had a long black overcoat, gloves, and boots. And his lantern pulsed with a cold, steady glow that somehow made the darkness lean back. "Excuse me, sir? Fog guy. I'm super lost, and I really need some help." But he didn't respond. He just kept walking like he'd stepped out of the underworld. "Hello?" When he got close, my heart felt like it was about to jump off a cliff. He had pale skin, a jawline sharper than my sanity, and eyes that looked like he hadn't slept for centuries. And yet, somehow, he still managed to look hot. Dangerously hot. "Am I dead? And you're the Grim Reaper assigned to escort me to the afterlife?" I then held my breath when he suddenly leaned in closer, pushing the lantern near my face. "I wish." "Then, a vampire?" I hugged my jacket tighter and shielded my neck, just in case. "Unfortunately, no. But your neck does look tempting." My soul screamed at his deep voice. When he finally backed off, I gasped like I just survived a staring contest with Lucifer himself. "So, you're a normal person?" "Sorry, I was. Gosh, wait, I think I have something stuck in my throat." His attractive face has got me malfunctioning so bad. Probably either a shark's bone or a lobster's claw. "So, okay, here's my story. I was flying my jet, crash-landed here, then found myself running away from some creepy moon cult with chanting and possibly floating people. I need to get out of here, and I assume that you can help me with that." But he just stared at me. But not with annoyance. Not even with concern. More like calculation. Like he was trying to decide if I was a threat, a liability, or maybe his next victim. "So, you're a local here?" Still nothing. No answer, no emotion, just farming. He turned around and started walking without any words. And I just found myself following him like a dumb little duckling. I spotted a tall silhouette barely visible through the fog, a towering lighthouse on a hill. And it looked like he was heading straight for it. "So, are you heading towards that lighthouse? Can I come with you?" "I guess not." "So, what's this place called?" Because it's seriously giving Haunted Island vibes. I kept tossing questions his way, but it basically felt like I was interviewing the air. "So, we're somewhere in the US? Do you guys have an airport here? A helipad?" "I'm just wondering if I could, buy an aircraft so I could fly my way out of here. Can I borrow your phone for, 5.5 seconds? I'm 97% sure my bodyguards and assistants are freaking out right now. I need them to help me locate my friend and pick me up ASAP. Any chance there's a boba tea place nearby? And a spa? Gosh, my feet are killing me." He totally screamed danger, but I was desperate at this point. "You own this place, don't you?" Finally, he acknowledged my presence again. I guard the borders of this dying land from outsiders like you. Outsiders like me? Do I look like a serial killer to you? He scanned me from head to toe and scoffed like I was the worst thing he'd seen all day. Excuse me? More like a lost soul, stumbling through things she cannot comprehend. Ouch. That sounded poetic and insulting. That was the intention. Could you at least tell me your name? Names are a luxury. Oh my God, that's exactly what someone named Vladimir would say. Call me whatever helps you sleep at night. Okay, sir, whatever helps you sleep at night. Bit long for a name, though. Maybe I'll just call you. He shot me a death glare, and I should have been scared, but I blushed instead. What in the world is happening to me? Keep talking, and I'll make you sleep permanently. Did he just casually threaten my life? Okay, chill. Zipping it. Mouth sealed. Muted. He glanced back at me again, and this time, he was looking past me, over my shoulder, like something horrifying was creeping up behind me. What's going on? I slowly turned and gasped at the sight of those shadow creeps slipping out of the mist, realizing they were the same entities who had chased me earlier. But before they could get close, Graveyard Hottie and Flynn suddenly stepped in front of me and raised his glowing lantern like it was a sword. He spoke with cold authority, his voice cutting through the fog as he commanded the figures, "You're looking for the wrong person. Now, be gone." His lantern suddenly lit up with an intense, cold light that cut through the fog, making the shadow creeps scream in agony and disappear like smoke. Did he just save my life? I was still in shock from the sudden rescue when he leaned in closer again, his face near mine, and whispered something to me. If you want to stay alive, then stay out of the dark. Got it, he warned, and I could only nod, whispering back, got it. Before I could even ask him about the context, he suddenly stepped back into the thick fog and completely disappeared from sight, causing me to shout, "Wait! Hey! Where are you going?" I ran and searched for him everywhere in the mist, but now he was gone, just gone, and I didn't even get his name, leaving me to wonder if I would ever see that Graveyard Hottie again. After a brief mental breakdown, I decided to keep going, wandering aimlessly until I reached the edge of the woods, where there was a quiet stretch of dark water and a tiny, old rowboat tied to a post. Oh my God, is this finally my getaway ride? I thought, but I climbed in and instantly regretted it, because when I tried rowing, the boat just went sideways, then backwards, then I nearly flipped over. My muscles were clearly not built for this, and I wondered why I didn't take boating lessons, but eventually, the boat bumped against another shore, and I almost kissed the ground out of sheer relief. Before I could even explore the new place and find some help, a group of terrifying, monstrous creatures suddenly appeared out of nowhere and started cornering me against the water. Okay, at this point, I was 200% sure I was just dreaming, so I closed my eyes tightly, held my breath, and braced myself for whatever came next. I hoped that after this, I'd finally wake up from this nightmare, but instead, I woke up slowly to the overwhelming smell of bleach and cold metal. The fluorescent lights above me flickered ominously, and I could hear something dripping nearby as I tried moving, only to realize that I was strapped to a surgical bed in a thin hospital gown. Okay, so apparently those creatures actually hospital napped me, and just as I was hoping for the graveyard Hottie to come and save me, the metal door suddenly hissed open, and a creepy surgeon walked in. He was tall and thin, with slicked-back blue hair and a creepy, metallic, beak-like mask that covered the lower half of his face. Oh, and he was holding a freaking drill. Totally normal, I thought sarcastically, just as he spoke, awake at last. I yelled back, "Who the heck are you, and why am I dressed like I'm about to get dissected?" "Curiosity demands sacrifice, and you should feel honored," he said, to which I retorted, "Whatever you say, freak show. Touch me, and I swear my lawyers will erase your entire bloodline from society." "Legally, of course," I added, but he just replied, "You're still young, but already quite stubborn," as he reached for a metal tray filled with shiny, terrifying tools and syringes. "Since you asked, I'll be frank," he continued, his voice cold. "You have nothing to worry about. Under my care, you'll receive the most advanced and effective treatment, and I will personally supervise your recovery." What does that even mean? I'm not sick or broken or whatever. I shouted, but he just said, "Ah." "But that's where you're wrong. You're in my sanctuary now. This is a facility for correcting flaws, for perfecting minds, for studying consciousness," he explained. Then he picked up a large syringe, and the second that needle glinted under the light, my soul left the building. "I assure you," he said, moving closer, "you will be my next successful experiment," which made me scream, "Let me go, you psycho. Let's just play around with your brain a little," he mused, ignoring my screams. "You'll be amazed at what's hiding inside." Just as he reached for me with a gloved hand, the double door suddenly slammed open, and a young, agile boy wearing a traditional-looking hat and a ragged outfit wheeled in a huge oxygen tank. "Apologies, doctor, I heard you needed more air," the boy said, but before the doctor could reply, the tank suddenly exploded without warning, filling the room with smoke and gas. Through the haze, the boy quickly moved to my bed and unstrapped me, his voice urgent, "Fast. They are closing in. If you want to live, take the window. Jump." "Oh, wait, what? Who are you? And why are you helping me?" I asked, and he replied grimly, "Someone who used to be his experiment, and survived." Okay, but what about you?" I asked frantically, but he just shoved me toward the window, saying, "Just go. I've got some unfinished business to take care of here." We heard the surgeon's muffled voice yell from the smoke, "You think running away will save her? She belongs to us now." The door suddenly burst open again, and those same terrifying creatures who had kidnapped me poured into the room and charged straight at me with terrifying speed. Without thinking, I sprinted the last few feet to the window, launched myself out into the darkness, and crash-landed hard onto the back of a moving garbage truck. As the truck rumbled through the darkness, I lay on my back and looked up, expecting sunlight, freedom, or something, but to my surprise, the moon was still there, just looking smaller and duller now. Eventually, the truck stopped and ejected me like a piece of trash, making me roll into a massive scrapyard surrounded by metal heaps and broken machines, right behind a shady-looking lab facility. I started looking for something that could help me get out of here, and while digging through the rusty, damp scrapyard, I finally spotted something useful, a busted-up electric scooter. Just as I was about to hop on my escape vehicle, someone stepped out from the shadows and blocked my path, a short, young girl who looked exactly like an evil porcelain doll. "Where do you think you're going?" she asked in a cold voice, and I just stammered, Home." "Is there any problem with that?" "I do have a problem with that," she replied flatly, and I just sighed, "Humph. Great. Another freak." "I see it in your eyes," she said, her head tilting. "You're scared and thrilled at the same time." How did she know that? "You're running on unstable emotions." "You are easily corruptible," she continued, "but don't worry, I'm here to optimize you, baby girl." "What exactly are you going to do to me?" "You look like you're just waiting for your mommy to come pick you up," I scoffed. "That's cute," she replied, "but you see, I don't handle trash myself." She pressed something on a sleek tablet, and right behind her, a massive, terrifying silhouette rose from the metal heaps with glowing red eyes and loud, whirring joints. "Is that a freaking robot?" I yelled, and the doll girl just smirked. "My little friend here removes errors. And you, unfortunately, qualify." Just as the massive robot lunged at me with a metallic roar, I acted on instinct and yeeted the busted-up scooter straight at it, but the scooter only bounced off like a sad little paper plate. Right as the robot raised its giant metal claw to squash me like a poor little bug, a long and massive steel beam bar suddenly swung down from above, crushing its arm with a sickening crunch. I looked up to see who saved me and instantly forgot how to breathe. It was a blonde guy with a face card so powerful it could make women across the globe bark, and a jawline sharp enough to bankrupt the diamond industry. "Oh, my modern knight in shining armor," I thought. "Who is this guy?" He glanced down at me and smiled. "You all right? Hang in there. Let me just finish this real quick." I opened my mouth to respond, but absolutely nothing came out. My brain was buffering harder than cheap hotel Wi-Fi. By the time I blinked, the creepy porcelain doll girl and her now damaged deathbot had completely vanished into the shadows, making the blonde guy remark, "Well, got to give them credit. Fast feet." Just when I thought the coast was clear, those terrifying, monstrous creatures suddenly emerged from the dark alleys, making me yell, "Can't these weirdos just leave me alone?" Victor replied grimly, "I don't think they're here to have a friendly little chat," and then immediately grabbed my arm, urging me, "Let's move." Before I could even react to the new danger, he scooped me up effortlessly over his shoulder like a duffel bag and bolted straight into the fog. I was screaming my lungs out as their claws reached for us from the darkness, but this guy had insane speed and reflexes, dodging them easily. And somehow, while he was carrying me like I weighed nothing, he still managed to skillfully beat up some of them with his precious steel beam bar. When we finally outran them and stopped in a safe, quiet alley, I was this close to puking all over his boots from the chaotic, upside-down motion. He set me down gently and asked, "All right, we're clear. You okay?" And I could only gasp, "That was actually such an insane experience, thanks for saving my life." He just smiled and said, "Not a problem, I came here for you," which made me stop and ask in total disbelief, "You? You came for me?" He paused. "Well, my duty is to save and protect everyone in need of." Then quickly corrected himself, "Of course, and I just apologized, sorry for all the screaming earlier." I explained, the blood was pooling in my brain, and I saw my life flash in 4K, to which he just replied with a chuckle, "Fair enough. Let's get you home." That's when I noticed we were at a foggy port, standing in front of a large, dark, industrial-looking ship, and I asked, "Wait, is this your ship? Am I finally going home?" "That's right, come on," he said, guiding me up the gangplank, but as we boarded, I couldn't shake the deep paranoia crawling in my chest about this entire situation. This guy was just entirely too perfect, like he was sent from central casting just to save me, which made me wonder, but why? What's in it for him? I stopped him on the deck and said, "Listen, I've had a rough week with different entities, so just to be sure, are you here to actually save me, or, I don't know, harvest my organs or something?" "I already did the first part, didn't I?" he replied with a warm smile, and right as we finally stood safely on his ship, I realized that I desperately needed a full spa day. I asked him if he had a bathroom and spare clothes, because if I didn't get out of this gross, torn hospital gown, take a bath, and brush my teeth ASAP, I swore I was going to lose my mind. Thankfully, he had some spare clothes for me, but it turned out to be just a giant black t-shirt that completely swallowed me whole, hanging down to my knees. When I stepped out onto the ship's deck, freshly showered, I walked in on him bulking up, and, oh my holy juicy protein powder, just look at those muscles and veins, wow. "My shirt's way too big on you," he chuckled, "but hey, better than nothing, right?" And I stammered, Yeah, but I like it, it's cozy, so, are you from here?" "Nope," he said, his tone turning serious, "I came here to reclaim something that was taken from me, from US, and to protect what's left," which just made me reply, "Oh, interesting." He then told me his name was Victor, and that he was a high-ranking military commander, apparently leading some kind of expedition through this weird, fog-infested region. He described hopping from island to island with his crew, chasing ancient ruins, lost history, and something deeply personal that he clearly wouldn't talk about. "I met a local in town earlier, her name is Nell," he explained, and she told me that this is a lawless region and completely off the grid, so it can be pretty chaotic, but that's all she shared. That actually made some sense to me, but my curiosity was already screaming 100 more questions, and in the meantime, Victor and I continued to bond on the deck. He was surprisingly warm and laid back for a commander, and the gentle way he kept checking on me, making sure I was okay, was definitely doing something to me. But, of course, just when things were finally looking up for me, the ship suddenly had serious engine issues, and we were forced to dock again in the nearest patch of land. "We'll have to rest here for a while and ask around," Victor said, his face grim, but Nell told me that the locals here are pretty sneaky and love ripping off passing tourists, so we just need to be a little careful. We met up with his contact Nell in a rundown diner, who surprisingly looked like a tall, thin supermodel and had a distinctive, sharp tattoo over her right eye. "I heard you've had quite a trip," she said, pushing a plate to me. "Eat up, you look like you haven't eaten in days," and I replied, "You bet, back home my dinner usually comes plated like edible museum exhibits, but this will do, I guess." "So, where exactly is back home?" Nell asked, and as I told her about my billionaire background and how I ended up here, she looked extra intrigued by my story. She leaned back. "So, you're not exactly the average tourist profile then. People usually come here on ferries, not on their own personal aircrafts." "Oh, speaking of aircrafts," I interrupted, "do you know anywhere I can borrow one? Preferably, I'd like a jet or at least a helicopter." "We can try the local craft shop, they might have something experimental," Nell suggested, and I asked, "Craft shop? Like, gadgets and machines and stuff?" To which she just smirked, "Everything, babe, just name it." We finally arrived at the craft shop, which was a chaotic place full of bizarre inventions, strange gadgets, and even food weapons, and apparently, it was being run by equally bizarre young girls. "Build a jet in a day? Please, I could do it in my sleep with one hand," one of them boasted, and honestly, it sounded ridiculous, but at this point, the only thing that felt impossible was me getting back home. One entry, as the tech girls geeked out over engines and blueprint jargon, I glanced out the shop's dirty window and saw Victor and Nell talking outside, and they looked very sus. Planning to eavesdrop on their little conversation, I stepped outside the shop, only to immediately crash into someone achingly familiar. It was him, tall, brooding, and unfairly attractive. Mr. Graveyard Hottie, and I realized, God, I actually missed him. He immediately gripped my arm, his voice low, "You're not safe here, they know who you are now, all of them. We need to leave," and I just stammered, "What? What do you mean? And who's a they?" Suddenly, Victor stepped in between us, stating, "She stays with me," but Flynn countered, "That's not your call," to which Victor replied, "Oh, I think it is, because I'm responsible for her now." I was just standing there, watching two of the hottest men alive fighting over me in the middle of a creepy, fog-covered mystery land. The whole situation felt like a Wattpad fever dream, and I just knew Mila would be frothing at the mouth if she ever heard about this. Victor argued, "You need to come with me, you need muscle, not some emo lantern guy." Avery, "I've led troops through war zones while he's guarding trees and graveyards, you do the math." Honestly, it was completely impossible to choose between them, so I nervously suggested playing rock, paper, scissors to decide. And to my complete shock, they actually went for it, but the game quickly turned into an endless, deeply awkward loop of ties. I considered flipping a coin until we realized none of us even had one, so I blurted out, "I'd gladly come with both of you, anyway," and then froze. So, did I just say that out loud? Before either of them could react, a red flash in a nearby alley snagged my attention. A glamorous woman with sleek glasses, a stylish hat, and a banner stood there like a fashion model turned CEO. She pressed a single, elegant finger to her lips and raised the banner, which read, "If you want real answers, follow me." Then she winked at me and vanished into the shadows. Okay, that was definitely not suspicious at all, but my feet seemed to have a mind of their own, so I immediately ditched the boys and followed her straight into a nearby cafe. And holy stepmother of boba tea, I wasn't expecting this to exist here at all, but I immediately barged in, only to find that the entire cafe was completely empty, except for that mysterious woman. She was sitting there like a seductive riddle with endless legs, casually sipping her drink like this was a date. It's self-service. Oh. Love that. Real classy. Now, about those answers? Why don't you throw a question first, just a little suggestion? Okay, fair. So, where the heck am I? Spill the boba tea. I mean, where, like, exact location? GPS? How do I escape? She sipped her tea louder and even more dramatically. Humph. They surely have the best boba tea around here. It tastes so divine, and sweet, and creamy. It's probably laced with something drippy, like a special honey made from paradise. And look, I'm here because you promised me answers, not some boba tea review. As if testing my last nerve, she started taking selfies with her tea. Serious question. Are you trying to help me or mess with me? Apologies. Can't a woman have a little fun? Anyway, before we get serious. She took her drink and strolled toward me like she had all the time in the universe. I then held my breath as she leaned in way too close. Seriously, what was up with this whole town or whatever? Why was it full of insanely attractive men and women, aside from those freaks and psychos, of course? Try this one first. I took a sip and realized that she wasn't lying about her boba tea review. I knew you'd like it. Anyway, have you considered being a pop idol? With that face card and body, T. I can make you global. Are you recruiting me or giving me answers? Both. Anyway, I've heard your family owns quite a few islands. Think I could have, say, 3? Strictly for my child's private playground. Wait, she has a kid? And how does she know that? Miss, whoever you are, I am this close to losing it. I just want my jet, my best friend, and a 14-hour spa day. And to go back to a life where my biggest problem was choosing which designer sunglasses to wear. I got up, ready to leave, when the doors and windows suddenly slammed shut with a loud bang, trapping us in. It's them, she said, her tone suddenly serious. Which of them? There's a lot of lunatics in this place. You're probably confused, being in a place that promises new secrets and answers long buried in time, she said, and where people from different places come chasing power, riches, and control. Everyone wants a piece of you. Some to protect you and use you at the same time. Some to own you. Some to experiment on you. And others to erase you. What? Even the ones who saved me? The ones I kind of trusted? Tragic, isn't it? Then how do I know you're not one of them? She just sipped her tea again and shrugged. That's your call, sweetheart. What is this all about, anyway? And what exactly do they want from me? Your arrival just made things even messier. You're carrying something none of them planned for. You just made me even more confused. What even are you? Spy? Cult leader? Crazy vlogger? Rogue journalist? Boba witch? Oh, darling. I just like knowing how the story ends. Then I want a jet so I can go home safely with my best friend. That's how my story ends. Well, then. Your answers await, as promised. It's right beneath us, she said, and then she tapped her high heel pointedly on the floorboards. Wait, was she serious? Quickly now. They're coming. And they're not here for the Boba Tea. Just then, the whole cafe started to shake violently, and that was my cue. I flung the hatch open, climbed down, and found myself in some kind of underground cave. I was completely lost in the dark, damp space until I spotted a fully intact jet sitting up ahead, gleaming in a single beam of light. Finally! Sweet, glorious escape! I took off running, only to stop dead in my tracks when I realized that it was just a toy, a stupid little model jet on a stand. And then I heard the echoes of that woman's laughter from above, and I knew she was sus, she freaking tricked me, that crazy boba witch. Suddenly, a brilliant beam of moonlight burst through a crack in the cave ceiling and hit me square on, making me feel weird. What's happening? I wondered, just as everyone, and I mean everyone, started showing up from every dark direction, completely messing with my head. Llama, the dear woman, was there, her voice echoing, the prophecy lied. It wasn't supposed to be you. I was chosen to be the new moon and not you. I am the true vessel, and that light belongs to me, she cried, just as Gilan, the surgeon, stepped out. You are the perfect subject. I must know what you truly are. Example. Then Nell, the diner woman, appeared, utterly visible. You carry the moonlight. And with it, you can save what's left of us. Victor, the blonde commander, stepped forward. Come with me, Avery. This region's balance depends on you. Let me protect you before they twist what you are. Just shut up, all of you. And don't come any closer. I screamed, completely overwhelmed by everyone. Just then, I heard another, different woman's voice whispering directly in my head, "You don't owe them anything. Just keep shining, Avery." And just like that, I snapped back. I spotted a small, dark tunnel tucked into a corner of the cave and sprinted for it like my life depended on it. Because it did. When I finally burst out the other side of the tunnel, an actual, real, full-sized jet was there, and Mila was inside, waving frantically. "Girl, let's go. Hurry up. We're running out of time," she yelled, and I realized miracles do freaking happen, folks. I jumped in, slammed the hatch shut, and immediately fired up the engine, ignoring the shouting behind me. That's when they all showed up at the tunnel exit, faces I never forget, all charging toward me as I prepared for takeoff. But they were too late. I had already launched the jet straight up into the dark night sky, leaving them behind. No one owns me. I'm done being told what to do, I yelled. I'm my own person, not your freaking vessel or whatever, so guess what?
Bye.
Freaks. Freedom at last. Entry. I jolted awake to the sound of steady beeping machines and the harsh glare of blinding, fluorescent hospital lights. Sweetheart. Oh my God. Honey, she's finally awake, my mother cried out, and my father added, there you are. You better have a good excuse for scaring us like that, young lady. While I was still processing the emotional mess of seeing my very real, very rich parents again, someone else walked in, Mila. Her arm was in a cast, and her eyes were glassy, but she was smiling at me, and I felt super relieved. Welcome back, Aviator Barbie. That's when it finally hit me. It was all indeed a dream, a very vivid, very long dream, and I had finally, truly woken up. So, apparently, I had survived the crash but fell into a deep coma for 3 long months. And after the crash, Mila got us help, even with a busted arm, and screamed until rescue found us. Later, when it was just the two of us in the quiet hospital room, I finally spoke. I'm sorry, Mila. What for? You were right. I was too curious, too reckless, and it got us here, she said, trying to smile. But we're alive, aren't we? She added, and I just replied,
Yeah.
And I had the weirdest dream ever. Mila's eyes lit up, her friendly demeanor returning as she demanded, oh, spill it, every single detail. And I did. I told her every juicy, terrifying, ridiculous, and strangely romantic detail of the past 3 months. When I finished, she just stared at me, her face thoughtful. Wait a minute. Your dream sounds familiar. You say that like you've had the same one, I replied, confused by her sudden seriousness. No, dummy, she said, pulling out her phone. Remember the game I've been playing lately? The one I'm obsessed with? Genshin Impact, she said. We literally watched the trailer of the new update the night before the accident. The place in your dream, it sounds exactly like Nod Cry, the newest region in their video game world. She opened her phone, pulled up the trailer, and played it again for me, and my jaw absolutely dropped. The dark mist, the towering lighthouse, the massive glowing moon, the creepy town, everything was right there. My whole 3-month-long, vivid dream was literally on her phone screen, but that wasn't all. But more than that, so were they, all of them, just in their stylized video game versions and aesthetics. The trailer's narrator boomed, dive into the immersive world of Genshin Impact, the open-world action RPG, where you explore, battle, and uncover the secrets of Teyvat across PC, mobile, and console, all seamlessly connected. On September 10th, version Luna 1 arrives with a massive update, the mysterious new region, Nod Cry. And the most important story chapter yet, revealing long-awaited truths about the heavenly principles, Fatoui, and Ether and Lumen. To celebrate Genshin's 5th anniversary, enjoy a free 5-star character, exciting challenges and mini-games, tons of free polls, and more. The Wish banners feature Llama and Nahita, followed by Flynn's, Gilan, and newcomer I Know. Ready to explore, battle, and uncover the truth? Click the download link now and use your exclusive gift code to get a head start into. I just stared at the screen, feeling amazed and completely traumatized at the same time. Was it really just a dream? Or was it somehow something more? Either way, I knew what I had to do. Okay, that's it, I said, my voice firm. Give me the freaking game. I need to try it. I need to meet them again. Mila just grinned, her face triumphant. Welcome to the fandom, girl. You're one of us now. And just like that, I was ready to dive back into all those wild adventures, and even get closer to my favorite characters. You know exactly who they are, my graveyard Hottie, my blonde commander, and all the others.